Okay, today is May 28th, 2025. I'm here with Jim O'Connor in the museum, and he is Foster Bundy's stepson
Yeah,
and Beatty's son.
right. Just after I talked to you to set it up, and he's got to go down on the Powder River, that ranch that he's manager of today, because they're going to start replacing the fence that burned down.
Miles and miles.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got an extra big job there. Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Could you sign our guest book?
I sure
And
can.
then I'm gonna find something to take the nails off of that frame.
Here, I can do it.
You have, okay, you've got a knife or something, okay. I'll just take this over there
Here,
so I can see it. Okay, this is a painting that Foster's dad, Edgar Bundy, painted. We don't know quite all about it yet.
Okay, the rest of the story on it is, he painted two pictures, big murals for the Canadian government. One of them is the Canadians landing in France in 1914, and this one is the French landing in Canada in 1603.
Oh, fun. Aren't those historic?
And they're big paintings.
And so do they exist still today, like in Canada somewhere?
Yes, this one is in the Beaver Head Collection of War Art, Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. And the other one was in the Canadians landing in France, was in the legislative building, and but then they took it down. Now they're big paintings. They are 8 by 16.
Oh my gosh. Where did he find paper that big? They must have had to make it
They
for him.
were canvas.
Oh, canvas. Oh, nice.
Maybe my board here I used as backing as my dog.
Probably keeping it nice and straight. Beautiful. I bet I could take it with my
Yeah.
phone better, huh? And then I'll take a picture of the back as well. It's the yellow anyway. Is it normally just a black and white?
Yes, yeah. I guess you got the photos that I tried to email.
I'm not sure.
I emailed them to Blacksmith 1209.
Oh, okay. Let me just check and see. What were they of? My memory's is crazy.
One of them was Foster and Dolores DeJarnett in the store,
Oh, no, I don't think I did.
and another one was Foster and Kenny Custis in the store.
Oh, no, I don't remember seeing those. Yeah, I'd love to see those.
Yeah, and then there was another one that I sent of Foster and his sister when they visited here in '63.
Oh.
And they're sitting right out over here looking at Sand Mountain.
Oh. Didn't know his family.
Yeah.
We had a sister.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
he had a younger brother too.
Didn't know that.
And the younger brother wasn't an artist, but the daughter was.
Interesting.
And she was up in
Huh.
Canada, I don't know where. Foster's brother-in-law, he was an artist. He was a bird painter, and I have a lot of his bird paintings.
And they were from Canada, you say?
No, he was an art instructor at Rugby College in England, the brother-in-law.
Wow. So they were still in England. They
Yeah.
still had wow. Okay, I
And,
didn't know that. Yeah.
Now, do you know Foster's history?
I really don't know much about him.
Okay,
I don't.
he came here in
I'm gonna
20.
give you a chair to sit down.
Okay.
We'll be here a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go get my chair.
He came here in 25. Is this where you want me?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna see if I can
Get
maybe
it.
not have the window right behind us, but
If you don't want the window, we can change.
I can just move this a little bit. How about if I try that? Now I got two windows. I think you're good. I think we're okay. Now I got this too high. Oh, that's much better. Okay. Yeah, tell me about Foster, because I do not know that much about Foster.
Well, he came here first in 25. He'd gone to some agricultural school in England.
Okay.
He didn't want to be an artist like his father. And when he first came, he worked for Bob Walsh on the McCoy place, which is the place that Vic Garber lived up at the foot of the mountain.
Yeah.
And I think he just was there during the summer, and it was in the fall that he went to work for Britton's as the gardener. And so he was the gardener, so that'd be in 1925. And my dad had come out here in 24. He was riding the rods to go to Washington State, and got put off the train up at Parkman so that Charlie Dana could get hay hands, because my granddad had lost his place with the ag depression in eastern the Sandhills in the ag depression in 22, and then my dad went back to the what do you call it, corn farm on the Missouri River there, just out of Sioux City. And then he was looking for work, he and another guy. So Dad worked that summer of 24 for Charlie Dana, and then he went back home, spent the winter, and then came out again. This time he bought his ticket and went to work for Jack Cato. And that place is Bales's, just up.
Oh, yes, that's right. Before you get to Dow's.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Bale's house,
yeah,
and that was Cato's.
yeah.
Now, what was your dad's name?
Harry O'Connor. And then he worked for Cato that one summer, and then he went and worked for, went to Britton's. He was one of the farm hands. Britton's at that time had quite a few head of stock and did haying, and of course that's where he and Foster met. And then Mom came here in 29 to teach. She taught.
Oh, that's the history I don't have either. So your mom, and give me your mom's name.
She was Hazel Beatty, and that's why everybody called her Beatty.
That's all we always knew, or I never knew her name was Hazel.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a take on Betty.
No. people would ask, well, what did you say? It's not quite baby or something. It's a Beatty, and that's what Dad always called her.
Mm.
She taught in a couple of places in Montana when she got out of school at South Dakota Normal School in Spearfish.
Okay.
It was called the Normal School.
Yeah, my mom did that. Yeah.
Yep, I know remember your mom.
Do you?
Yeah. Helen.
Yeah.
And then, but anyway, that's when Mom and Dad met. It was during that school term. Well, maybe she came here, I think she came here the 29-30 school year, as well as the 30-31, because she lived with Mrs. Nottingham.
At the base of the schoolhouse,
Yeah,
next to us,
Yeah.
okay.
and I know Dad was working up at Britton's, and he was year-round person. And then when they got married, they rented a place from Bethwood Dunlap, the little log cabin.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's where they lived when I was born in the fall of '31, and my sister in '35 or
Okay.
'33, and then
So that's next to the stone house where
yeah,
Garber's
yeah.
owned, okay.
And then Dad Foster got married to Dot Moody in 32 or 33. 32, I think. And then she died of TB at 33 or 34.
Oh dear.
And then I know 34 was when he became a naturalized citizen. And that. And then he went back to England in 36 in the spring and visited his mother and his brother and sister. And when he came back, I think that's when he and Dad went into partnership. And they farmed the summer 36, I think it was, or summer 30, certainly summer 37, one of the home ranches.
Oh, interesting. So they were, was it grain or was it hay?
It was hay and grain both.
Mm.
Well, beets. They had a little bit
Oh,
of beets,
some sugar beets.
and because it must have been the summer of '36, because that fall is when we moved. Moved to Banner on the J. Kirk place.
I don't know where that is.
It was just below Banner on the old road that went down, and the cow pasture to the west of the house backed up to where Harry Williams lived on the highway.
Okay.
Yeah, this was on the cut across road,
Was it Kirkpatrick's?
Kirkpatrick.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I started school here and only went month or so, because it was in the fall when we moved over there. So then I went to Banner, and then
So when you went to Banner School, excuse me, we're trying to locate that Banner School. Were you over near the Kirkpatrick place? Is that the school you went
No.
to? Was it by George Harper's?
no,
That's
it was
cool.
right behind the store building, just to the north of the store
Store
building,
All
on that
right.
ridge.
Okay, I know where that is because the well is still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dad Foster lived with us because he was a widower then. Yeah. And then in the fall of '39, when Hitler started bombing London, he enlisted in the Canadian Army, the South Alberta Regiment, because he was just a little too old to get in the American Army. but he was still young enough for there.
That's Foster.
Yeah, that was Foster. So he went to war, and then, yeah, fall of 40, yeah, fall of 40 is when we went and moved to Piney.
Okay.
On the Legay place down below Kearney. And I went to school then in Kearney through the rest of the thing. So basically all my grade school days was in one-room schools.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then
You were one of the lucky ones.
we moved in 45 over to Matitsi.
Now, what took you to Matitsi?
Dad was going to buy the vinegar place. And that. Yeah, it was fall of 45. Fall of 40, fall of 44 then. We moved over there because, yeah, he was going, because Miss Whittaker, at that time, our son was way younger than the three girls. And he was in the service and didn't have any idea what he was wanting to do. So.
And so how do you know that they found out about it, or do you know how they found out about it?
Well, Miles Buell over there was her, Mrs. Whittaker's brother, and she was a widow woman with the place there.
So that's the connection?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And, yeah. Anyway, then Foster came, when he got out of service in the spring of 46, came to us there in Matitsi and worked with us.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then my dad was killed in spring of 47 by lightning.
Wow.
And so they kept, and it was still on the place, and then in 48, yeah, spring of 48, they turned it back to Mrs. Winiger. And whatever she, and yeah, it was summer of 48, because it was in the fall of 48 that Foster mom got married.
Okay.
And they left to go to England on the last train that left here right after Christmas, when they had the blizzard of 49.
Oh my gosh.
And they made it to New York, of course, getting out of here, and went back to, took ship to England, and they were there for, I don't know, 6 weeks. But,
I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Now that I have this, I know where to look
yeah,
and when.
yeah. And then they came back,
Great.
and that summer of 49, yeah, summer of 49, they, Mom stayed in Sheridan. Foster worked for Mrs. Newton up on Pass Creek. Well, I did too when I got out of school. Mrs. Newton was on the old Sandy Jake's place.
I don't know those names.
Yeah. You know, I don't remember what, that's quite a while ago.
Yeah, Newton. That I can look that one up, I think.
But Sandy Jake, he had kind of had a dude ranch there, and that it was.
Jake, Jake.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, well, some more research to do.
His name was at that time fairly well known.
Okay.
And so we stacked hay there for the first hay season. Then I came back and went to work for Garbers for the rest of the summer, shoveling grain.
So we're talking early 50s, right?
This was 49.
49. You're talking,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
And
49.
Foster worked for then for Sill LeBreau just south of Dayton for a while, and then till fall. Then I don't know what he did for a while after I went back to school, but it was the first part of it was January of 50 when they took over the store, bought the store from Skinner's.
January of 50. Okay. I don't really have the history of the Merc down that close either. I wonder if Tom does. Then did they always live in their cabin house over here?
Yeah, they rented that from Doris Coy Reynolds.
Of course, yeah, she owned that whole
Yeah,
part of the block.
yeah,
I think she still owns that corner.
I think so, yeah. And they just rented it all the time, and they lived there. And then they run the store till 75. Foster died in 74, and Mom kept it till fall and summer, I think.
Oh. Interesting. So
But the
did
only year I was ever around here was the, must have been the 49, 50. No, it was must have been the 50, 51 school year. Yeah, 50, 51 school year. It was the only year I lived here because I went to school to junior college.
So would you have graduated from Big Horn, or you were in high school?
No, when we moved to Matisse the first year, Mom rented a house in town and Dad was up on the ranch.
Oh.
And then the next year, my sister, she went to Ursuline Academy in Great Falls, and I went to Billings Polytechnic Institute because they still had a high school there.
Mm.
And there were 6 of us kids, and then there were about that many GIs that used the GI Bill to finish high school, and then of course college. And I went 2 years there, and I went to go back to be my senior year, and they had done away with that and changed the name. It's Rocky Mountain College now and don't have a high school.
Yeah.
And so they just enrolled me as a freshman.
Okay.
And then when I came here to Sheridan, I started taking ag courses and then transferred to Laramie.
You have a degree?
Got a couple of them, yeah.
And what are your degrees in?
Well, one of them's range management and the other is business administration.
All right. And then what did you do with your education?
I went to work for the BLM and worked with them 31 years.
Gosh.
And then after I retired from them, I started the woodworking business and did that for 10 years before we moved back to Orland.
And so where did you work for the BLM?
I started in Worland, then went to Lander, and then Rollins, then Montrose, Colorado, then Baker, Oregon, Dillon, Montana, Roswell, New Mexico,
You were.
Cheyenne, and then I finished up in DC because I only had 2 years to go to retire. And when I got forced move, why? And then while we lived back there, we took advantage of it and visited all the Civil War sites and things. We were good tourists.
Lots of places to see back there.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. And then you came back and retired in Moreland?
Yeah. Yeah. We bought the house in '80 and then rented it when her dad wanted to, he was moving and he wanted her to buy it, but we didn't move back till '94. So we've been there, I've been there almost 31 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, month of June, it'll be 31 years.
Excuse me. Yeah, you have a great museum over there. We love stopping at the museum.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, the curator at the museum is on our historic preservation board. I found a box of stuff the other day that was out in the garage when we moved back in. And so I emailed her last night and I said, have I got a deal for you? And it's about 1.5 pounds of the old horseshoe caulks that they used to screw in the workhorses' horseshoes in the wintertime for traction.
Oh my gosh. Interesting.
And I said, told her that if she was interested in it, I'd rather, if nothing else, she could use them as a, what is this sort of a gadget?
Yeah, interesting.
But I
That's great.
remember at Matisse there, getting our horses, because we still use work horses at the ranch. And I guess Dad did down on Piney. Would re-shoe them in the fall, and with the heavier shoes, that you could screw the caulks in, because it had about a 1/4-inch diameter threads on it.
Huh. Interesting. Huh.
They're about this long in the effective part.
Gave him traction.
Yeah,
Gave him traction.
in the winter time.
Wow. Did you ever put on snowshoes?
No,
On yours?
on a horse, no.
We saw those down at Saratoga at one of their
Yeah.
museum displays.
Yeah.
Round ones that they put on the, I don't know, must have been some kind of a workhorse they were
Yeah.
using.
Yeah, I don't think we ever used sharp shoes on, we call them sharp shoes, ever used them on saddle horses. But I know the workhorses did.
They did.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm not sure, I think maybe once Dad did down on, when we lived on Piney, because I know he used a team there all the time. Well, we had a team when we lived at Banner. Yeah, yeah. I always called it Kirk Place, but it was actually Kirkpatrick, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing some research out there, on the knoll that's
Yeah.
around we have different research documentation that's where the French peat bodies were buried,
Yeah.
where the beehives were.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing any depressions or any?
I don't remember that, I was pretty young then,
Yeah.
yeah. First to fourth grade, yeah.
Yeah.
The age where you don't pay a dang bit of attention.
That's okay. Yeah, we're finding that out. And like me, I didn't really get interested in history until my mom had her stroke, and she had volunteered to do so much for the museum, and she couldn't do it, so I volunteered for her to take over her job. And
Yeah.
that history bug bit, and it never let go. So I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've always been interested in the history, and I don't know why it didn't be instead of the range management, which I had a real good career with BLM and that.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And people say, "Well, you moved a lot," and I said, "Yeah, I couldn't hold a job." But
You kept learning though, learning about people, I'm sure. I was gonna look and see if we have any yearbooks, but I am not sure that we have them here anymore. We just have some old school books. Well, I could probably send you that. We have yearbooks from the Big Horn School.
oh,
I don't know if you've seen yourself in those old yearbooks or not, but
well,
I'll see if you are. I don't even know if you are in
I
any
doubt
of
if I am, because that first fall when I started first grade, it was only here for a couple of months.
Yeah, so that you might not have been in the
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look and
Yeah.
see. I thought I saw your mom in a yearbook somewhere as a teacher.
Yeah,
How did I know that your mom was a teacher? That's the only way I would have known is to
Yeah.
see your picture. But I've not been able to find it. So I'll keep looking.
Oh.
Have you ever
No.
seen her in any yearbooks
no,
when she was a teacher?
no,
Okay.
no, she didn't ever have any of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. where
She
I
had
saw it.
one of her college ones, and Kathleen, one of Kathleen's daughters has that, I think,
Mm. Okay.
because I didn't have that.
So what year was it again that Beatty would have graduated from high school? Normal
Or when she
school.
taught here.
Yeah, when she taught here, it would have been 30,
She taught
31,
the 29-30 year here,
29 and 30, okay. Okay,
I'm sure.
I can,
Maybe the 30, 31. I think, yeah, 29, 30 or 30, 31. Because they got married in January of 31. And I was born in the fall.
And where did she go to high school?
Did I?
No, where did Beatty go to high school?
She went Clark, South Dakota.
Clark, South Dakota. Because I might be able to connect with that museum or library there to see
Yeah.
if they have anything
Yeah,
on
yeah,
her.
yeah. There'd be a whole bunch of babies.
Oh, okay.
Because her whole family, Audrey, Dick, Audrey, Wallace, Mom, Neil, George, and Connie.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Seven-
big family.
7 of them, yeah.
7. And which one was Steve's mom?
Steve's mom was Connie, the
Connie,
youngest.
The youngest. Okay. I'm sure he told me. I
Yeah.
forgot.
And then Dad's family, there were 6 of them. And they lived just in Nebraska from Sioux City.
Did any of them come to Wyoming?
Just Dad,
Just your dad?
yeah. Yeah. Had 3 sisters and 2 brothers, yeah.
So, with Foster, he worked at the Bradford Britain then for how many years? Do we have?
Probably from 26 to early part of 36.
A long time.
Yeah, he was the gardener.
They had a big garden, along with their
Yeah,
flowers, but they also had a huge garden.
Plus all the yard, because, yeah.
And he loved flowers.
Yeah, they liked flowers and that, so. Now, I don't know whether Mom's, I know they had a big garden, but I don't know where she got her desire for flowers. My wife did too, but last year she didn't help very much, and I didn't do much this year. Well, I'm doing it all, of course, and it keeping me busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't garden, it's too
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah.
We have to fight the deer all the time.
We have flower beds everywhere,
Oh,
and so people come. It just was covered with tulips early on, and now we got irises and flax, daisies and poppies everywhere. It's kind of a jungle.
did you have any from Foster's yard here?
No,
I believe we have 2 neighbors that are here, maybe they're home today. We can go over and talk to them and see what they have that they got from Foster's flower garden.
probably where Jim Garber lived.
Yes, over here,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
uh-huh, yep. And then, where Melvine Ralston
Okay,
lived,
right.
on the side,
Yeah.
that is where Jerry and Bob Haugen live, and she told me that she has a peony plant, I believe it's a black peony, very rare, but it's beautiful. And, I think they're home today, we can go over and see. But I also think that they have flowers on where Jim Garber lived,
Yeah.
in the corner, yeah. There's probably still flowers over there in Foster's yard still today.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah, he always had the most beautiful gardens, and they'd have these different contests
Yeah.
around Big Horn, and for the women to have their garden shows and whatnot. And I'm sorry, but Foster usually won.
Now, did your dad work at the fort?
He did.
Yeah.
For many years, probably 20-some years. He also
Yeah.
worked for the Forest Service before that, so
Yeah.
he was a government employee for many years.
Yeah.
And then he also was a mason and a carpenter.
Yeah. Yeah, when I did my woodworking business back there in Virginia, I did lots of cabinets, built-ins, and trim work when I first started, but what I was really wanted to get into was furniture, and then I finally worked into it. It was all word of mouth,
Uh-huh.
making furniture and that.
And you did that for 10 years?
Yeah.
And that was back in Virginia?
Yeah, after I retired. And Jane was, she was a high school registrar for a couple of private schools.
Oh, okay. And where was she from?
She's from Worland.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we met first summer. In fact, it's kind of funny. The office building I had was upstairs over a pool hall was where BLM offices were. And they were half a dozen offices down one side of a hall, and the other half was Mobil Oil. And the girl that was in there in the Mobil office was a girl I knew from a teaching. And I asked her for a date, but she said she was engaged and that, so didn't date her. Then I'd been gone on a fire for a couple of weeks, forest fire, and came back. That was in September, late September, and came back, and here was a new girl across the way. And I kept looking at her because our doors were just opposite each other, the way that building was arranged. And she'd sit back in there. And one day when I was busy watching, I reared back and went up like this, and when I finally pulled myself up over the desk, and she was over there trying to keep from laughing. So after that, I went, screwed up my courage one day and went, stood outside when quitting time. When she stepped out of the door after quitting time, I asked her if she danced, and she said, well, she could get around a little bit, and I said, okay, let's set up a dance for Saturday night, and that's how it started.
Oh. How long were you married?
67 years.
No!
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, got married in fall of 57, and she just passed here in January.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's so hard, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
fresh. This first year is gonna be the hardest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I'm continuing with everything I did before, the volunteering I'm doing and that.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah, and
And you're traveling.
traveling, yeah. Yeah, I went down to Florida to visit the oldest son.
How many children do you have?
3, boy, girl, boy.
And where do they live?
Well, the oldest one's in North Florida, in the Panhandle, and the daughter's in Virginia. Her husband's was in the Air Force, and then they've stayed back there. And when he retired, and then the youngest son is still working. He's in with the Wyoming Department of Education in Cheyenne.
Okay.
And that. So. And he graduated. The youngest son graduated from Cheyenne High School, and that was just when we moved back to Virginia. So he never went there. Well, so none of our kids ever lived with us in Virginia.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I had a really good visit with Steve. I had only met him just a couple of months ago, and everybody kept telling me years ago I should meet Steve. Steve's got some stories for you. So, boy, yeah, I still have to interview him. He's got more stories.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's got lots of connections in Wyoming history.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I came back from Florida here last month, I stopped and saw Steve's older brother that lives in eastern Colorado.
Oh.
I hadn't seen him. He's on a right I had farmed out there.
Mm. Yeah, well then, did you know Steve when you were out at Banner?
Oh, yeah.
They were fairly close then
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, we'd get together for the big holidays
Mm.
all the time, and then at other times, yeah, Yeah,
Yeah, you would have been fairly close then.
yeah.
About, what, maybe a mile?
Well, when we lived, Steve wasn't born yet, but when we lived on Piney, Walt or Butch, his older brother, was. And I think that was when they were in, part of it was when Connie and Eddie were in Laramie, and then Cody. Eddie worked with the game and fish for a number of years, in the fish part, and then hatcheries, and then he went and came here. I think when Steve was born, I think that's when he was working for Rice out here, Ranch.
Mm.
And then he went to Brewer Place there at Banner.
At Banner. Okay. Yeah, he was there for quite a while, I think.
Yeah, long time, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been great. Yeah. Okay. Well.
You'll have to give me your other email address to
yes.
get those pictures.
Let me do that. Get that written down. I'm so sorry, I didn't know that Kathleen had passed. I didn't ever find an obituary on her, I guess. So,
July 7th, I think was the day she died.
last year,
Yes, yeah, 24.
and did I ask what funeral home it was? They would have that information.
The one up there by the cemetery.
Okay.
No.
Was
The
it
one in
Buffalo?
Buffalo,
Okay,
Harford,
Buffalo.
begins with an H.
Okay. I'll look it up. All right.
Yeah, she is buried up,
Is she?
because the family plot were mom and dad and Kathleen's first husband, and then she was put there. Because Clarence is his first wives, he's got a plot with a space for him in Buffalo.
Buffalo. But Kathleen's up here?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Where's Foster buried? Is Foster buried up in
Yeah.
Sheridan?
yeah, he's, well, mom and dad's was, when you used to drive in, is there two entrances going in? And kind of off to the left, and just inside there was a bunch of big old pine trees, and they're kind of right around in there is mom and dad.
Fairly close to the
Yeah, I'm
gate?
gonna go, yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna try to find, then Foster was off over in, is it a veterans section?
It could be the Elks.
The
Section.
elk section,
Is that where
he's
he's
in the
at?
elk section.
Okay. Okay. Well, this has filled in a lot on my Foster story. That's great. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take my camera off the tripod. It's probably, got the battery plugged in now. I mean, charged. And we'll go over and see if there are any flowers still around.
Yeah.
Okay, we're here
So
with
that's
Bob.
supposed to be the,
That's the Russian peony that came out of Foster's flower garden. We got a couple of tubers that they had,
yeah,
dug them up and brought them over here. And Kelly and Robin on the end of the street, they got some too. And like I say, it started out as just a couple flowers, and that's how big it's gotten.
wow.
Beautiful. Now, what's the
I don't remember
name of
that.
it? Russian?
Russian peony.
Russian peony.
Yeah, 'cause see, I only lived here for 1 year,
Oh, okay, what year was that?
51 school
Okay.
year.
I moved here in 1956
Yeah,
from Montana.
yeah. And so, rest time I was off, even summer working on ranches somewhere or else down in Laramie going to school. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Jim O'Connor.
Tim, Bob Haugen.
Not
Yeah.
me,
Nice to meet you.
Bob.
Yep, spent a lot of time in his store down there
Yeah.
buying penny candy.
Yes.
You don't buy that anymore.
I used to get in there. I'm a licorice fan.
Yeah?
And he had licorice. And you can't get good licorice anymore.
No. He always had good candy for us kids.
So you said that Robin has some flowers
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, she's got a Russian peony over there. It's up back by the garage.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll just walk around and see what we
See if
can
they're
see.
around.
Hey, Bob, do you know who owns this over here still? Is it still?
Well, Christy had it, and I believe she sold it to Waddy Taylor's son,
Oh, okay.
because their kids are going to go to school here.
Okay. All
I
right.
think that's what happened.
So Christy owns the whole. She owned the half block.
No, the open part over there belongs to
Reynolds.
no, Ruth Ann Meredith.
Oh, Ruth Ann.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I learned
Or
something
Ed.
new every
I don't know
day.
who's got it still. Meredith's own it.
Okay. All right. Good to
Okay.
know. All right. Thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see
Nice
you. Yeah, the turkeys. We never used to have turkeys here.
Never used to.
Never. Never.
Well, you didn't have very many antelope up in this part either.
We never did.
Now there's antelope around.
And sandhill cranes,
Yeah.
they come by the herd. I mean, they're so noisy, those birds, but they're beautiful. Yeah.
Down in New Mexico, we were where there's a winter refuge,
Oh, a sandhill crane?
sandhill cranes, and those farmers there called them flying combines because when they start coming in, if they didn't have particularly their Milo fields harvested, why the cranes was in it.
There goes your crop. Yeah. Tell you, this is Jim O'Connor, and he's
Hi, Jim.
Foster's stepson
Oh,
and
really?
Beatty's son.
Huh.
Yeah, did you know Beatty,
Nope.
Foster's wife?
I wish I did.
I didn't either.
You didn't either.
No, no.
Yeah.
No. We've heard so much about him and everything. Excuse my garb.
Been
I've been
cleaning.
working. But yeah, these here 3 roses are from Bundy's.
Okay, it's right here, right in front of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
What color are they when they bloom?
Oh, this one's kind of lavender. And that one's a bright red, and then that one,
This one.
it's a peach looking
A very
one,
peach,
reddish peach. But it really got a strong smell, but they only last a day or two on it. And then there's some in there that are offshoots of it.
You have some of those that are that old and are still going.
They were about dead when I got them. They, Kim Cannon's wife,
Okay.
Susie, we called her the hippie chick at that time. She was living
Sure,
over there
yep.
with them. And we got along really good, and stuff. And she was moving out, and she came and told me, she said, all these plants are going to just die because nobody's going to take care of them. They're just because there's a lot of them we're missing anyway, she said. And if I wanted any of them to come and dig them up, rather than just let them die.
Yeah.
And hell, I couldn't do that. So,
The peony, one of the peonies, and that's a shoot.
yeah, that's just a shoot.
That's not the original one.
The
That's-
original one's over here.
Yeah, it's in bloom now.
Now, is that the Russian peony
Yes.
that Bob was just telling us
Yes,
about?
Yeah, yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was a black peony, or was it not? It's always been red. Always been
But
red.
they had some of the regular peonies too
Okay.
that get the great big one. And there was butterfly plants and there asparagus. Oh my gosh, there was huge
Yes.
asparagus.
Yeah, we'd come by and visit every year.
Oh, did you?
Do you remember
It
the
was.
plants?
I bet it was beautiful.
Yeah, but I only lived here just 1 year for school because I was in college then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We have spread that plant all over Big Horn.
that one there. Always,
Yeah.
And it's going to go to Rapid City, a chunk of it this fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And Meineke's have a chunk over here.
there's no flower garden in behind there
No.
anymore.
I don't believe,
I don't believe so. I
You
think-
could go up to the west fence and look in,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I haven't been in there for quite a while.
It's owned now by
And then these 3 roses, these are the 3 original ones,
Yeah.
and we've given different people offshoots of them when they get too big. But
This one looks pretty good this year. He usually gets real big.
yeah, it gets up about this tall, and it's really pretty pink flowers. And then this one's a real dark red one.
Yeah.
And then this one's kind of a peace rose, I think. It gets really big flowers on it, but not so many of them. And then of course the peony.
You
Unfortunately,
must know how to grow roses and keep them alive.
You must.
Well,
I'm
they
not-
were pretty bad when I got them, because, you know, and they took off. What they needed was moved, I think, to get out of there, and because there was so much dead in with them. And I did move them. But
and
the peony,
fences.
I'm kind of letting my roses, what's still alive over there, die. My wife was a gardener, and so we had gardens all around there. We live on a corner like this, and people would come by, and they'd be going down the main drag, and they'd put on their brakes, and somebody else, because the tulips,
oh,
it was just full of tulips. Now they've got the flax, and the peonies are coming on.
now you must not have deer if you got tulips.
Not in town. We don't. Werlin's lucky, but Cody and Thermopolis, both of those are just overrun with deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Used to be they didn't bother anything. I didn't have to fence roses or anything. And then they started tasting the tops of them, so I had to do that. And heck, now they're even eating potentias and stuff in the wintertime. They're just something else. I was trying to think what else I got from over there.
I know. Of course, you always had to dig the glads, but I think gladiolas was one of his favorites,
Oh, it was. I'll be darned.
and he used to really raise a big bunch of those.
Huh.
We raised them for a while, and then we got thrips.
Yeah.
Not from there, though. We got bulbs.
Yeah.
And so that kind of spread them out. Any of the bushes?
But
Kelly,
I know
they come
we
from
dig the bulbs. That one fall I helped dig the bulbs and hung them up in the basement over there.
Oh, did you? Yeah. There was.
So they put 'em in the spring.
He had a variety of stuff that I've never seen before, and I didn't know what it was, and you couldn't see them for the grass hardly after a while.
My daughter's taken all of my pictures and she's digitized them. Around that propane tank on the other side used to be a big flower bed too.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Because
they
there
put the
wasn't
shed.
there wasn't this garage building, there was a
That's
little
right.
log building.
it's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep, and they put in a new septic tank. The septic tank was right over here,
Yeah.
and they had tile. Just, it was really weird. I mean, it was pretty makeshift stuff.
Crocs.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just
this-
this jumbled up mess. But it was okay for 2 people, but when a family moved in, it
Yeah.
really got overloaded.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, folks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And anybody wants any shoots of stuff, they're more than welcome.
Yeah,
you
if you'd
know.
like, I was gonna ask you if you wanted some shoots
No,
of the
I'm-
peony
Or roses.
Or your
At
daughter.
this stage of the game for me, why,
Yeah.
and
Or
when
would your daughter be interested in a piece or something?
no,
Okay.
Now, Foster's grandkids or great grandkids, there was a boy and a girl stopped by one day here.
yeah, that would be Robert's,
Kathleen's his sister.
Kathleen's kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were always going to come back in the fall and get some stuff, but they never did come back, or we missed them. You know, it's just hard to say.
Well,
But they're more than welcome to. Or
I don't, neither one of them are interested in gardening. I don't think
oh, aren't
now.
they? Yeah. Yeah,
Or
it takes a
carrying
little
on.
work to do.
Yeah.
But we gave to a lady out at Tongue River Reservoir a shoot of this.
Oh, yeah.
And they passed away about 3 years ago. and it's all weeds. Her patch was just immaculate, no weeds, and now it's all big grass and stuff. But that sucker is just not quite that big, but it's just full of blooms. We looked at it the other day. We're supposed to keep an eye on the place for it.
Yeah, it's still alive. So.
They're tough because it hasn't had any water in several years.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, any you see around Big Horn probably came from that plant.
Yeah. And they're not cheap either.
No.
Lloyd Meineke, him and Carol went up to Billings and came back and says, "Hey, we owe you some money." I said, "What?" He says, "We went to Ganans and they was wanting $60 or something like that for just a little tiny shoot of one of these things."
Jeez.
Yeah.
So we keep trying to get 75 out of Jerry, but she's
Yeah.
not cooperating.
We might get a cookie or two
Yeah.
once in a while.
Beautiful.
But it's a plant all over Big Horn now.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
good.
is. It's a really nice, pretty plant. And then it dies back.
They were in the store for 25 years, from 50 to 75.
Oh boy.
Tell them how long Foster was the gardener at Bradford, Britain.
I think he was the gardener there from 26 to 36.
Oh,
Wow. Huh.
geez. Wow.
He's always loved his flowers.
Didn't
Oh,
know much
you
about
could
Foster
just,
Bundy.
yeah, we know different people would talk about him and stuff, how
Yeah.
beautiful it was and stuff. But you could tell he liked a lot of it because there was so much exotic stuff over there. There was a lot of iris and tulips and different things too at that time. But
Yeah.
it just wasn't taken care of. So we,
Just grass.
Yeah.
Taylor's from Montana bought it now.
Oh.
I don't know if Robin told you,
Yeah, I was telling her.
but Jake, when they come, you talk to her again, point out this tree, because that's going to hit the cabin or something. I mean, it's really
She
bad.
said they're going to put a new roof on it.
Well, they better get the tree out of there first.
That's
'cause
what, yeah.
I know it's hollow because the raccoons are in there.
Oh.
I've seen them different times.
This was a big
They're
tree.
nesting.
But I don't think they mind us coming this far across the
I'll be different.
All
Yeah.
these trees are big trees.
Different people have really tacked on
When I
over the
see
years. Some of them
Missy, I'll
did
tell
really
her what we
good,
did,
and some of them
that
just
we came.
made it a mess.
Oh, there is still a little flower garden over there.
I remember there was a lot of poppies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big orange and other colored poppies here.
And it looked like there might be some irises or something. Is that
Mm-hmm.
in that corner? And then I think a lot of this was done by Jane Chase.
Yeah, about all of that area back in there and up along this side here was
It was all flowers.
Flowers.
There was a lot
Does that look
right
like
in
the
here.
area if you come around here?
Yeah.
Back over there, you can see that.
Yeah, that's where the roses were over there.
Yeah.
And then, trying to think, the peony was over here. There was a row of peonies along here.
I think the glads were usually put along in here. Yeah, I'll look through. We got a lot of family pictures that I didn't look at, with particularly the ones with Kathleen's kids that they've sent me.
Yeah. Good.
Mushroom.
Yeah.
Mushroom.
That looks almost like a morel. Not quite.
I wouldn't know, so.
I don't either.
Oh, they're good eating if you.
Oh,
don't
yeah, when
trust
somebody brings them to our
And then
house.
here's your gooseberries and spirulina.
Yeah.
Boy, look at how that has grown out this way.
Well, good habitat, I guess, for something.
And
Yeah,
you
that
are
didn't
the
used to be.
son of,
Huh?
you're the son of Foster Bundy?
His-
No, stepson.
Stepson. I wanna-
Some lilies
when-
under
When
there,
I
too.
talk to Misty, I'm gonna tell her we came on here.
Yeah, Foster and my dad were partners. For years. Their youngest daughter, and she must have been a real late child, because she was probably 20 years younger than Wilson.
Oh,
Was that Jeannie?
Jeannie
yeah.
Yep.
was there.
And so they had milk cows here in the pasture.
Yep.
Okay.
Was
Didn't
he,
know that.
Was he kind of an ornery old cuss?
Yeah,
Because I remember Joe or somebody was saying he just took the water for the irrigation. He didn't have any water rights out of the.
Yeah, that's why
that-
this goes across here.
Yeah, but he just ditched it and took the water anyway.
yeah, yeah. Mrs. Moreland was a real nice, sweet old lady.
Was she?
And every now and then she'd ask for something from the store, and I'd bring it over. But I don't, just that one school year when I went to junior college is the only time I ever lived here, so.
Oh,
Well, Wilson and Mary were great neighbors.
Yeah.
they were.
We really enjoyed them.
He was such a character. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Now, is the, where's the Bozeman Trail Mark that used to be here?
Right
It's
there.
right here.
Oh, there it is, okay.
Yeah.
I was on the wrong corner.
Oh,
I was looking, it was here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my memory's not completely shot.
Well, no,
No.
you kind of remember names and
that's
places.
not bad being just
Yeah.
20 feet off.
Now this original lilac, but
Yeah.
there was two more there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the little shed you were talking about.
Yes, yeah, that little log.
Yeah.
thing there. That's where we stored the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Chrissy always thought that was the,
No, that was Darla. I
Oh,
think
Darla.
Darla told Christy it was the Pony Express deal, but the dates don't add up at all.
They
The
don't.
Pony Express didn't come through here.
They did not.
didn't come up this high.
Nope.
It was down. Yeah.
But it's a neat little cabin.
It's a neat little cabin.
I don't know if they moved it in or what. I know the floor was terrible in there. The cats used to love going in there.
And this was built by James.
Jane, yeah.